Hello, everybody. This is going to be my draft analysis from Coach Benny. I am coach of the Ultimate Unburden, better known as Benny Protein on Discord, but I go by Benny when I play in games, so you can call me that. And yeah, so this is my analysis, like I said, for the ELDL Season 5 from the Little Root Discord server. And yeah, so it's going to be on BDSP and VGC. And prior to the this league, this draft, I have not played or pay attention to the competitive side of BDSP VGC since its release. So um, when I joined the league, I spent the first couple of days before the draft to actually learn the format and to come up with a plan with something to do. So this is what I did, and I came up with a few strats that I wanted to try. But um, when the draft order was revealed, I got 11th overall, as you can see here. So I had a couple plans that I knew um, will most likely not come down to me. Um, First idea that I had, like my number one pick, if it got back to me, I wanted to draft Crystalia, uh, but of course it got drafted first overall. And my next idea, my second plan, if Chris was gone, was to grab Suicune, but Suicune got out sixth overall. And third plan overall, the least likely of the three, in my opinion, was to grab Togekiss, but I knew Togekiss was gonna go out in the first few picks, so Togekiss did go out 8 overall, so none of my plan worked. So, but it was okay. Like as soon as I knew I was 11th overall, I knew those three wouldn't come to me, so I had another plan in case um, any of those three would get to me, and that plan was to go rain, and this is what I ended up going with. So yeah, I decided to go rain, and in my head it was clear that I wanted Pelipper as a rain setter and Ludicolo as a Swiss swim abuser, but when it come to me, I was like, okay, which one of them I grab first? Like, uh, so I debated a long time, and I decided to go Ludicolo first, for a couple of reasons. Um, First one of which was that the guy right after me has his team name, the Ludicolos, so uh, there is some contest going on during the league that you get points for playing with your mascot. So I was fearing that um, he might want to go with Ludicolo Rain himself. So for that reason, I had to grab Ludicolo first. And the second reason was that by grabbing Ludicolo, uh, I was kind of announcing to every other coach that I intended to go rain. So by securing one of the best Swiss abuser first, uh, it did not get any incentive to the other coach to grab stuff like Pelipper and Politoad because they could not get Ludicolo themselves. So that's why I went with Ludicolo first overall. And yeah, we'll switch back and forth from Showdown and the drive from the league as I go through with my thought process. So yeah, reason why I wanted Ludicolo with Swift Swim, base 70 speed becomes a lot better. Like you can outspeed a lot of stuff since it's not Sword and Shield. I think there are a couple Pokemons like Crobat, Jolteon that are one base 130 speed, but above that, I think in Gen 4 there is only, if I'm correct, Electrode and Ninjask. So yeah, they are not very common. So uh, with Swift Swim base 70, I can be faster than almost anything in the meta game. So yeah, and Ludicolo has Fake Out. So in rain, it gives me one of the fastest fake out in the game. Um, and outside of the obvious offensive move like Scald, Giga Drain, and Ice Beam, it gets some cool coverage option like Leech Seed and Knockoff. Like I could very well decide to go Leech Seed Rain Dish to get 1/4 of my health. Oh no, it's 116 now. Okay. So I can get 3/16 of my health each turn, almost a fourth, which is not bad at all. And knock off to get rid of items that can be problematic for my teams. And yeah, so for my second pick overall, I went Pelipper, obviously, but I was debating taking it right now or wait for another turn. But as you can see here, the the coach Ryan of the Big Sky Mouse Wine, he went with Raikou as his first pick overall. So I feared that maybe if Pelipper came back to him, he might want to grab Pelipper to get Raikou in Rain, which is a very threatening mon. So I felt like Pelipper would not last back down to me if I did not pick it round two. So this is why I went for it. And I'm actually like very grateful that Pelipper is A tier and that Politoed is S tier because in my opinion here in BDSP, Pelipper feels a little bit better than Politoed. And that's because of the Tailwind and White Guard option. There is a lot of Disquake strategies going on, and White Guard can shut that down pretty efficiently. And Tailwind to get speed control for the rest of my team. It also get access to knockoff to get rid of item. It's not the fastest mon, it's not the bulkiest on the special side, but with a damp rock, um, my rain is almost guaranteed to stay up the full 8 turn because since it's not Sword and Shield, we cannot reset weather with max moves, and other weathers in BDSP are not that common. Like, I think out of the Spring Division, which I'm in, no one drafted Tyranitar, so there is not going to be Sand. No one drafted Torkoal. I think someone drafted Abomasnow and Ninetales, which are two other weather setter, and I think Vulpix got picked out of C tier as well. So not a lot of weather. So I'm pretty happy about that. And of course, there's another ranking with Politoed, but yeah. So paper with Drizzle feels really solid overall. Like I said, Tailwind, White Guard, offensive move like Stab Hurricane that cannot miss, Scald boosted by the rain. So I'm really happy about that. And yeah, so now it's got to the point in the draft where I had to wait a lot of time. Like it had to go back to the first person and back down to me before I get my third Pokemon, and a lot of snipes happen between here and then, and yeah, I ended up picking up Raichu and Staraptor, but that was not at all what I was aiming for. Like, I knew I wanted Lightning Rod, and I planned at the beginning to grab something like Plusle out of tier 4, which I knew absolutely no one would draft. But yeah, I did not because um, yeah, a lot of people grabbed S tier in the beginning, and uh, out of those, Garchomp was not drafted. So I was beginning to think like, okay, now I have two A tiers, I can go grab a S tier. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, Garchomp, not bad. I can pair it with Ludicolo and Spam Quake. Uh, and stuff like God of War with Lippity, Bronzong with Levitate, were not yet drafted. So that was what I was going for. But as you can see, God of War got picked pretty soon after I drafted Pelipper, and way up, Bronzong Garchomp ended up on the same team, which I'm really sad because that was the play I wanted to make in place of Raichu Staraptor. But when he got back to Krim, coach of the Nexus on Crows, he grabbed on Scroll, and on the way back, he got Bronzong, which is a really good duo, in my opinion. That was what I was going for as well, but did not ended up getting it. So yeah, when it got back to me for my third pick, with what was left in the S tier, I knew that I wanted none of those. So I was like, okay, since I do not grab um, any Esther, what can I do to optimize my team? And I was like, okay, I will go with four A's, three B's, and three C's. And I started looking in the A tier, and I saw Raichu. Like I said, I wanted to go Plusle, but since Garchomp did not end up on my team, um, this opened up a place for A tier and some points. So I went with Raichu. Um, yeah, so with Lightning Rod support in my rain, it's going to be really helpful for my team. It has access like Fake Out, Nuzzle, Charm, Volt Switch. There's not much to say about Raichu than we already don't know. It's fast, it's got a great support, it's got Volt Switch, you can put Thunder in rain. So yeah, that's the pick about Raichu. And on the way back, on the A tier, I was still looking through that, and Um, I'm searching my words. Yeah, I wanted something like, okay, now I have a solid tree trial for rain. Let me grab something that doesn't rely on weather and that can just uh, be a threat on its own, something fast, preferably something strong. And I looked at Staraptor, I saw its stats, I saw its abilities, and I was like, okay, I'm going with that. Staraptor feels great. It gives me an Intimidate user for my team. Paired with White Shoe, it covers one of its weaknesses in Electric. Uh, Brave Bird, Close Combat, Double Edge, it's strong as hell. I believe it gets Quigalak too to finish up Pokemons. And yeah, it gets U-turn as well. So yeah, no, that's what I was gonna say. Reckless. Reckless gives a boost to its moves in Brave Bird and Double Edge. So that's really, really great for that. So yeah, it's a great pick that I'm really, really, really looking for using because uh, I can go Intimidate or Reckless depending on the matchups. I can go Scarf to boost that speed even more. In Tailwind, I think it can be really, really strong if like I'm investing like 252 Adamant, Life Orb, Brave Bird, Close Combat, Double Edge. It's gonna hit like a truck for my team. So really happy about that. And yeah, now let's move on to my fourth overall pick, which was Poliwrath, another Swift Swim abuser that I did not um, anticipated drafting when I went with Pelipper Ludicolo, but The reason why I drafted it is because I was looking at my top four and I was like, okay, right now I'm pretty weak to rock and ice. Like I have no resist in those four first Pokemon. So I was like, okay, I'm weak to Rock Slide Spam, Blizzard Spam, Ice Beam. I need something for that, and I also wanted in that slot in the fifth round to grab a ground type because I was looking at okay, I need something for rock types, but Pokemon that I was considering at that point, Gliscor and Donphan was picked. Uh, so yeah, it did not come back to me. So I was like, okay, this makes my task easier. If I don't get a ground type, I'll go with a fighting type instead. So I was looking at stuff like Primeape that gets Defiant, Hitmonlee, which is my mascot for my team, etc., etc. Toxicroak with, I believe the ability is called Dry Skin for recovery in rain. So yeah, but I ended up with Poliwrath because not only Poliwrath is a fighting type, it resists both rock and ice, which I was looking for at that point. It's will swim with a base 70 speed, just like Ludicolo. It's got a great bulk with 90, 95 in its defensive stats and 95 attack. But the main thing here is Blade Drum. If I can set up a Blade Drum and then have Poliwrath in rain, it's gonna be a threat. Like it gets Belly Draw, yes, it cuts his HP in half, but it has access to Stab, Drain Punch, which gives recovery, and Stab, Waterfall in Rain into Swim. So in my opinion, Poliwrath is gonna be pretty good for my team. Like I said, so Swim, it's got setup option, and it covers for weaknesses on my team that I did not have prior to that. So yeah, and my next pick was Venomoth. Like, um, in the prior to the draft, my plan was to grab Ferret. The reason is I really like Ferret. It's one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, but unfortunately, it got drafted early on in the draft. So that was out of the question for me, but I was still looking at something with redirection. So at that point in the draft, in out of B tier that I felt really confident that were um, solid Pokemon with redirection was Jumpluff and Venomoth. I was going with Jumpluff first for the utility in Strength Sap and Leech Seed, but unfortunately it got drafted as well. So I went with my plan B for that pick, and I went with Venomoth. And I'm not too disappointed about that. Yes, I did not get Ferret, uh, but still, Rich Powder, Sleep Powder uh, is great. I can have Struggle Bug too to lower special attack from my enemy. I can also set up with Quiver Dance if I pair it with something like Raichu that can fake out something that threatens my Venomoth to set up. So that's something I can do, but mainly here, Rage Powder paired with something like BD Drum from Poliwrath, I think it's gonna be really, really, really great for my team. Uh, yeah, so that's Venomoth. Tinted Leads is great too to hit something that would otherwise resist my moves. Now it's gonna be neutral, pretty much. So yeah, and that was my first sixth overall pick. And now was the time to dive in the lower tier. I knew I still had points for B tier, but nothing that was left in B tier stood out to me like, okay, I need to grab this now, right away. So I've decided to go C tier for my next pick. And yeah, at that point, I wanted a dark type. So I was considering Drapion out of B tier that was still available, and Spiritomb out of C tier. And I was debating the options like which one do I go first? And I ended up going with Spiritomb because of the fact that I needed something that is slow because so far everything on my team was relatively fast. If I consider like Poliwrath 70 and Ludicolo in rain that is fast, I have base 100, base 110, base 90. So everything was pretty fast so far. So I knew I would got screwed by Trick Room. So having Spiritomb give me Dark Stab and Ghost Stab that can hit psychic types who likes to run Trick Room often. I have Snarl to lower the special attack. I have Will Wisp for the physical mon and Pain Split for recovery. So yeah, I was pretty happy about Spiritomb, which in my opinion is one of the best C tier available. I think we could have made an argument to make Spiritomb B tier, and still plenty of people would have drafted it, myself included. So I'm stoked to have gotten that out of C tier at that point in the draft. And yeah, so next up, I decided to go with Registeel. So the reason is I did not have a lot of bulk on my team so far. Nothing was fat, nothing could take it really well outside of like Poliwrath, which has great natural bulk, and Pelipper, which has great defense naturally. But other than that, everything was pretty frail. So I went with Registeel. Pure Steel type means no fire weakness when I'm in rain. Unfortunately, though, Registeel, my man, got nerfed big time. Like, doesn't have access to Clear Body anymore, so you can lower its defenses to kill it earlier than it is in Sword and Shield currently, and doesn't get body press. So its best move, in my opinion, Iron Defense Body Press, he's gone. But there's still some stuff we can do, like Curse if you feel frisky. Flash Cannon and Iron Head are still a good stab to have. It's a Fairy resist, it's a Dragon resist, and great overall bulk naturally. So yeah, I drafted Registeel just to have something bulky that can switch in, take a hit, and leave the field for someone else on the in the back. So that's the reason I drafted Registeel, mainly to have, as I said, bulk and pivot for my team. And next up, I went with Untail. Like when I drafted Polrat, it gave me an idea to go back in C tier to see if there were any other Swiss swim, and I saw there was a bunch. Like I know was getting Swiss swim user out of C tier, no matter what. Like, but my first pick was Gorbis. Next up was Untail. If that was going to be taken as well, I was going to go Seeking, and if not, I was going to go Futsal. But I went and ended up with my second choice for that round, which is Untail. And Untail is pretty nice. Uh, in my opinion, it's not as good as Gorbis, since Gorbis has base 114 attack, special attack. Now, Untail, its best stat is attack, so it means it's pretty prone to get intimidated, but it gives me the option to go mixed with Shell Smash because it raises both my attacks, and I can run a coil set more effectively than what Gorbis could do with its weaker attack stat. And if I pair Untail with something like a Rage Powder Venomoth, I can set up Shell Smashers pretty easily. And if I put it in range with my Pelipper after that, I get a +2 Untail in every stat, but defenses in range with its stab. So yeah, it kind of works like cheap Poliwrath in my opinion. Like in some matchup, maybe I will prefer Untail. In some matchup, maybe I would prefer Poliwrath, or maybe both each week. But I feel okay with Shell Smash Coil. Gets Ice Fang, Ice Beam, Hydro Pump, Scald, Waterfall, Sucker Punch, Crunch, and I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, it's got okay enough coverage to be a potent threat for my team. And last but not least, we got it know. To be fair, this pick was pretty much filler. In that slot, first I had Grumpig because Grumpig had, in my opinion, three great abilities that I could try to abuse each week, but it got picked, so I ended up with another Psychic type, Hypno. Inner Focus is pretty nice to not get intimidated. This gives me another taunt user uh, than Spiritomb. I get Trick Room as well to either go Trick Room myself with my slower mons like Untel, Registeel, and Spiritomb, or I can go Hypnosis if I want to, if I want to risk the 60% regret. So yeah, Hypno is not the craziest pick at all. It's not really good. Like with its mediocre attack stat, it's gonna be pretty passive, but I think it can be useful. But like I said, at this point it was filler. I had pretty much everything I wanted for my team. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up my thought process for my team, the Ultimate Unburden. So I guess now I'll wish every coach in every division a great season and that they have fun. And I hope you guys can follow my season as well. You can subscribe and get notified when I get my matches up. And other than that, guys, that's it for me. I'm Coach Benny, coach of the Ultimate Unburden, and we'll see each other when the first match, I think it's going to be next week. So stay tuned for that and see ya.